It's UFOs, it's the Monkey Man, and it's a whole lot more than just another day in 2020 right here on KBS. And a big warm welcome back to Mama Shaibul in the chat room. There we go, yes, indeed. We've got the Bearded Traveller, we've got Rick, we've got the King. I'm all shook up. Oh. We got Polynation. We've also got somebody at 20 minutes to 9 on what? A Tuesday evening. Very dark, very cold, very wintry outside, but they appear to be like doing some DIY or something. I don't know, they're building something out the back. Not the time of year to be building anything out the back, but if you see me looking like that to the side at any point, you know it's because a new power drill or a new power tool has been revved up in the background. Very disconcerting, I must admit. But listen, welcome back to another crazy day in 2020. Yes, every day's a crazy day in 2020, right? Brilliant show with Ben Emlyn Jones last night. If you didn't catch that, the first hour of it is now up and live over on KBS 1. You can see that there. We were getting into monolithomania, we were talking UFOs, and we're going to be touching upon the UFOs that we talked about last night with Ben in just a moment right here. And of course, I'm going to be on the main show in just over an hour's time from now. Our good friend from Canada, Don Wiskin, he is in the hot seat in hour number 1. And then in hour number 2, there's a 60% chance. 60% chance we're going to have Nacy. But don't you worry. Never fear. There's woo and infotainment near. Yes, indeedy. And if all else fails, I can open up the phone lines, right? I know you all love it when I open up the phone lines, even though most of the time none of you phone me. I don't bite. I really don't. So who else has wandered into the chat room while we've been waiting there? I see a lot of King. I see a lot of Polly. The Bernaise sauce. Can't go anywhere till you got your Bernaise sauce, man. Telling you, that's why I had my pizza today. I insisted I get Bernaise sauce on the top, and it was delish. Yes, indeed. So listen, UFOs. That's where we're going to start today. Now, for some time we've been talking about this, right? And it feels like I've been talking about UFOs for the whole time I've been on YouTube, which I'm led to believe maybe over 10 years now. Long time, right? Oh, long time. But in the past 3 or 4 years, things have really picked up pace. things have changed drastically and dramatically. It's not the same as it was in the early 2000s or when I was growing up. Anytime you heard of UFOs in the news and the media, they would basically be having a laugh, they'd be having a joke, they'd be making fun of the person who had seen something, who was claiming something. And then in 2017, it all changed, and we've been discussing that, what's going on, why it's happening, various opinions out there from various people. Nobody can tell you that they definitively know why there's been this change in the approach towards talking about UFOs and aliens and all the kind of stuff that used to be almost taboo. You know, I take a look at the state of the whole world today and where we are as a civilization. And we are very, very close to being and on the cusp of becoming an interplanetary civilization. We're truly entering this space age that many of us have had sci-fi dreams about while we were growing up. And I think a lot of it's to do with that. And it's to bring us up to speed with A, our own technology that we have not had access to before. Things that if they just rolled it out tomorrow, we would almost think we were looking at magic. And that's because the kind of propulsion systems, anti-gravitics, things like that. We humans down here on Earth, we've been working on that for ages. And I firmly believe they're going to bring us up to speed on that kind of thing. And at the same time, I think we're about to learn more about the true nature of the universe, or at least the true nature of the universe as dictated to us by either governments here, or if I was to go full woo, by some federation of, I don't know, intelligent planets. I don't want to call it the Galactic Federation, because that's got some really bad connotations, and when people go and search that stuff out, it leads them down a very strange rabbit hole indeed. So that's why yesterday when I was on the show with Ben, when we brought up the fact that the ex-CIA head, John Brennan, is talking UFOs, it is interesting, it is quite important. Now, at the same time, let me stay logical and let me remind everyone that John Brennan is releasing a book. And when you look at these kind of things, sensational headlines like that, for me, all PR is good PR. You get me? It's caused a lot of people to be talking about the book. And I would imagine, you know, the ufology crowd, people that are interested in this stuff, they might never have considered putting their hands on John Brennan's book. But now, or you can guarantee a large proportion, or a large portion, of the UFO research community will be desperate to read more of what John Brennan has to say. And Ben Emlyn Jones was with me last night when we kind of got into the gubbins and into the inner workings of the story. What did he say? Where did he say it? Who did he say it to? And I remember seeing Ben's face. He was absolutely blown away, and that pleases me. I love it when we can bring a guest on, especially somebody like Ben who keeps his finger on the pulse and we hit them with something new. And Ben was that excited about it, and I knew he was, that he went away. He's actually written an article, just a small article on John Brennan, what's been said, and what Ben thinks this means for the whole disclosure picture. I don't think we're ever going to get full disclosure the way many of us would like to get it, the way that many of us would picture it happening. I think we should be quite excited by what we are getting right now. Now, if I was to go full tin foil and away from logic, I could easily make a case for us being set up for some kind of Project Bluebeam type event. Alien invasion. You know, no better way to bring a global population together. And it was Ronald Reagan that said something similar, right? How quickly we would forget our differences if we were facing an outside threat. It's always a potential, always a possibility. They've always got that wild card up their arm. But I try to keep the glass half full, and I try to stay as optimistic as I can in these crazy times. So we're going to take a look at Ben's little write-up of John Brennan talking about UFOs. And then we're going to get into the Monkey Man. I know you're all waiting for the Monkey Man, right? Not very often you get to put Monkey Man in your title. Not very often you get to say Monkey Man 4 times in the space of a minute anywhere. And listen, this is the thing, folks. This is why I don't really take myself too seriously. And nobody should take themselves too seriously. I'm a 44-year-old man sitting in front of my computer getting excited about the fact we're going to talk about Monkey Man. That should tell you everything you need to know about me. Okay? So if you're happy with that and you're ready to progress, and I hope you are, let's move on over and check out what somebody intellectual has been saying about the whole UFO shenanigans that's afoot right now. And it's Ben Emlyn Jones. And there he is, John Brennan. That's not Ben Emlyn Jones, that's John Brennan. But it says here, oh, name check, dopamine. Oh, here we go. I was on the Kev Baker show last night. Coming soon, it says. And that segment of the show is over there. It's on, I believe it's on KBS One. I'm going to need to check that. I'm pretty sure I included that part in the clip. But it says, when my eponymous, whoa, that's a big word, host announced a startling bombshell. The former chief of the US Central Intelligence Agency, John Brennan, has made a statement about UFOs. Now, this statement is pretty much the same as the one, like me, have been making since the 40s, and that Brennan's predecessors have been ridiculing and denying. Now, the above is based on a quote by Admiral Roscoe Hillenkoetter, the first head of the CIA. Brennan began with effectively the same line as his British equivalent John Sawyers. And you can see an article about that, the MI6 boss, who says that aliens exist, stating that in a universe of infinite size and complexity, we should expect to find intelligent life out there, etc. However, he goes one step further. He then attaches the premise that ATIP TTSA publications, he said, I think some of the phenomena we're going to be seeing continues to be unexplained and might in fact be some type of phenomena that is the result of something that we don't yet understand. Now, that could be still down to earth, terra firma, physics that the public wouldn't really understand because we haven't seen it before. An example, say we've got anti-gravity. Say there was something that crashed at Roswell, which I personally think there was. Any crash retrieval, back engineering, gives us something that we've never seen in the public eye, public domain before. That would explain for something that we don't yet understand. And then he goes on to say, and that could involve some type of activity that some might say constitutes a different form of life. There's a lot he's saying in there. But what I really picked up on when I read it was this bit here. I think some of the phenomena that we're going to be seeing continues to be unexplained. Going to be seen. Not the stuff that's already been released. And if any cat knows, if anyone knows that there's extra information out there about to be released or it's in the pipeline, or dare I say it has had his hands on the actual UFO files, it's got to be a swamp monster like Brennan, right? I mean, if it's not the head of the CIA, then who the hell is it? So, it says here, that's quite a long and garbled sentence, and it displays his nervousness and his awareness of the implications of it. Two other things are remarkable about that statement. Firstly, it comes straight after Brennan described the ATIP TTSA material as quite eyebrow-raising. Secondly, he says the phenomena we're going to be seeing using the future tense. And when he discussed the eye-raising US Navy footage, he also said, you try to ensure that you have as much data as possible in terms of visuals and also different types of maybe technical collection of sensors that you have at the time. Now, this all comes from the New York Post that have been doing a lot of what you would class disclosure type material. So Ben goes on to say, in this sense, he may be referring to the telemetry for the UAP, and that's the unidentified aerial phenomenon. Got to get used to this new nomenclature, all the kind of jargon they're using. You see, all joking aside, though, if you're doing a freedom of information request, that's what you're going to want to search for. You're not going to put UFOs in there because they'll rightly come back and say, no, we don't have anything about UFOs. Well, they don't, because they deal in UAPs. It says radar logs, firing solutions, etc., that have been long known to exist, or long been known to exist. The reason they haven't been released may not be because of the UFO context, but simply because they might reveal the capabilities of those ships, one of the US Navy's most closely guarded secrets. It's interesting that this news broke just a week or so after the bizarre announcement of General Haim Eshed of the Israeli Space Force. And it is well known that the US and Israel are close allies and have been sharing intelligence and capabilities for decades. This leads me away from the possibility that the two men's outbursts coming so close together are just a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence either. I really don't. I have a feeling we're going to hear more of this soon. The current head of the CIA, Gina Espel, is a Trump appointee. And is she going to say something similar in her official capacity? I know I was jokingly saying we're looking for first contact for my 2020 bingo card, right? But I don't think it's going to happen this year. But I do think 2021 is going to be one of the most pivotal years when it comes to ufology and our understanding or our appreciation of other life forms out there in our own galaxy and beyond. And you can take that one to the bank. I would say if I'm wrong, I'll hang up my microphone at the end of next year, but you know I love doing this too much to do that. You know I couldn't give this up. Oh, heck no. And listen, I'm going to get a drink of coffee because we're finished with the UFOs for now. Everybody, well, I think everybody, I'm hoping everybody wants to get into the Monkey Man. That's right, folks. Monkey Man has been spotted. Okay, we'll take one of our little snap polls in the chat right now. Do you think we're on the verge of the last card? The last card will be a fake alien invasion. 1 for Project Bluebeam. Number 2, not for you. Come on, folks. 1 for it's a Bluebeam type of Christmas. Number 2, it's not for you. Is Bluebeam on the way in 2021? Is it? Get your votes in now. Bernays Sauce is coming in with a cheeky 0. I love it. He's having none of it. None of it. Same here, ZX. There's a part of me hopes so as well. There is a part of me hopes so, brother. Why? I mean, come on, couldn't people do with a fake alien invasion about now after the year we've had? Who would begrudge us a fake alien invasion? Come on. You know, I was watching, you remember the old TV show V? Remember that one? V. Diana and Donovan and Willie. They're all eating the rats and what? Well, I watched a bit of that last night, right? And I tell you what, man, wow. Did that make me feel old or what? When I was growing up, that was like the schnizzle. It was like the creme de la creme of sci-fi woo. Myself and my mum, we would sit there, wait for it coming on, and when it finished, we'd be thinking, oh no, not another week to wait. And then I was watching it last night and I thought, well, I never remember it being this camp. The uniforms, what were those uniforms all about? Definitely a bit flamboyant when you look at it now. The effects were absolutely shocking. And this had been redone for HD as well. I remember I'm thinking to myself, how did I ever find this like compelling back in the day? A good TV show, right? Definitely. Yep, exactly, Tony. Rat Munchers. Yep, big time, dude. Big time. So we've got a 1 from Nothing As It Seems. We've got a 2 from Carol. Hodgie's on a 2. Polly's on the 1. King's on the 3. Yes, exactly, Rose, the Monkey Man. You can't say that without at least smiling, right? Bernays on the 1. Yep. Show My Age, Luke and Laura. V was epic. It was. I actually enjoyed the remake that was on recently. Past couple of years, probably a few years now. Damn, when you get old, years just fly by, right? People will say to you, well, that was 5 years ago. And where did that go? You know? Now, what's the average age of people in here? I know you shouldn't ask people's age, right? I just assume that we're all round about my age. Roundabout. You know? How old am I? I know I don't look a day over 25, right? Okay, 35. I'm 44, folks. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
How dare you?
Exactly, Greta. How dare I? Reptilians are visible. Ooh. Just to wait until you're in your 60s. Hodgie, if I make it to my 60s, I'm telling you, man, I'll be doing good. 62, brother? You look about the same age as me. 55? 44, Polly? You're a 76er, ZX. I know you're there, man. Tony, 43, yeah. I wouldn't imagine there's any young whippersnappers in here. Bernays, 63, liking it. Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. I was looking at the analytics on the channel. Wyatt asks me if my content's geared at children. I don't know. If it was, it really isn't attracting any. Trust me. It's like less than 0.01%. Kev 14 plus. Kev plus 14, so that's what? Okay. I won't shout it out, but I get you. Put Jack as 400. Oh, like it, Put Jack. That's like Noah type ages, man. Woody Walker. Woody, you don't need AI. The Woody is intelligent enough. So listen, I've kept you waiting. I've kept it dangling. The Monkey Man. The hell's Kev talking about? The Monkey Man. Renzo is probably the youngest one. Bearded. Coming in on a cheeky 50 there. Anyone below 30? I don't think we appeal to the below 30 mark. I don't think we do it. Yeah. Exactly, Hodgie. That's the kind of thing you can't do on YouTube. Ever. Not even like they've just banned that kind of thing. You surely shouldn't be doing that on there. The blabber, the reptilians have been with us from the beginning. One was in the garden and referred over and over in the first cities of Sumeria. King, you're bang on, man. You're bang on. You see, though, I'll be really controversial, right? I'll be really controversial before we go and take a look at Monkey Man. Right? What was it that was so bad about that snake that wanted to, like, tell us how things worked? Why was that so wrong? That will always puzzle me. Be one of my first questions when I get to where we're going. What was that all about? Well, I mean, why were we to go through that ethereal life in blissful ignorance? Why? Why weren't we allowed to find out the rules of the game? You see, there's something in that. There's absolutely something in that. I don't know what it is. Bill will probably be wanting to go toe-to-toe with me for even saying that. But it's what I think. It's what I've always wondered. Knowledge is power, right? So we're told. Or does knowledge corrupt? I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. Just try to be really, really triggery. Loving the Grinch, says Becky. Not as much as you're going to love the Monkey Man. Let's get going. Let's do it. I sit here, I could talk to the chat room all day, and then I remember I've got shows to do. I've got places to be, people to see. That rhymed. That was pretty cool. Monkey Man. I'm not making it up. But I don't need to make things up in 2020. Right, we'll make me a bit smaller here. We'll make the Monkey Man a bit bigger, maybe. There you go. There's the Monkey Man there. So, Monkey Man caught on camera in Singapore. Now, I'll be very honest with you. For a man who likes his woo, a man that's into his Bigfoot, man that's into his Mothman.
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
Or ma'am. The Monkey Man, I was having to scratch my head today. Now, maybe it has been brought up on the show before, but it certainly escapes me with my dementia that is increasing by the month. So, the Monkey Man, are we ready to find out more about the elusive Monkey Man? Now, there it is there. You can see something in here, right? And if I take you over here, there's the initial photo, and I've got you covered. We'll zoom it in. Okay, so we can zoom it in, and we see circled, apparition-y type thing. And over here, we've got him blowing up. There he is. Now, that looks like a full-blown gorilla to me. That definitely looks like something real to me. Now, logic as well, we've got to throw it in there that when you're looking at a picture like this, and this is a brilliant one for it, we're looking at very irregular, unfamiliar shapes and patterns. And our brain, now listen, I'm only doing it because we have to throw it out there. I don't think this is pareidolia in any way, shape or form. But we have to explain it, that sometimes random colours and shapes and something a bit obscure, a bit abstract, our brain's going to go to something familiar. Psh, boom, you can see the ape. I do think we've got a bona fide sighting of the Monkey Man. A photograph of an alleged Bigfoot-like creature was spotted in a forest. Has been doing the rounds online. Bigfoot legends can be found all across the world. And Singapore, which is said to be home to the elusive Bukit Timah Monkey Man, or BTMN for short. It's still a bit of a mouthful, right? I mean, nobody's ever phoned into Coast to Coast and said, George, you'll never guess what happened to me on the way home last night. I stumbled across one of those big BTMN people. No, that's never happened. It'll never happen. Let's call him the Monkey Man. I think that's a far better name for him. Who knows what the algorithm might make of it. And it's no exception, it says here. Believed to wander the forested Bukit Timah. Well, that will account for his name then. It's a regional prefix he's got. This tall bipedal hominid has been seen or has been sighted several times over the last few years, and now it has even been captured on camera. Or has it? Dun, dun, dun. It looks like the bad guy. It looks like the baddie in any Scooby-Doo cartoon, doesn't it? Just before he pulls off the mask. Oh, let me at him. So if we come back over here, the image which shows the dark outline of a gorilla-like creature was taken by Alfie of the Night Raiders, a group that explores locations around Singapore under the cover of darkness. Well, I think they would have been pretty ridiculous if they called themselves Night Raiders and were out doing their works in broad daylight. Just saying. I know I'm being pedantic, I know. This year, one of our equipment specialists, Alfie, followed a rival group. Oh, right, so wait a minute. This group, they're at shenanigans. They're not even doing their own tracking. They're tracking other groups that are tracking things. Imposters. This year, one of our equipment specialists, Alfie, followed a rival group for a mission and also to test his paranormal equipment in this particular jungle. A Facebook post about the incident reads, during that particular night, they witnessed the BTMM. There you go. And our specialist managed to capture in a split seconds. He said BTMM. It sounds like the name of a serial killer, doesn't it? Was that BTK? Wasn't he somebody? Bind torture? And then that word you can't say online. So BTMM was like, he's not really a serial killing cryptid. Not that I know of. It's another type of mystery creature called Bigfoot. Some people say it's folklore. We don't deal in that around here. We think that's code for factual history. And some say, oh boy, we need a Bill Bean in the house now, because some say it's a djinn, the evil spirit. And I ain't talking about the ones you drink, ladies and gentlemen. No, no, no. But is this really evidence of an unknown creature, or is there a more conventional explanation? And it says you can view the photos in more detail down here. And I can tell you that one there is not a photograph. If that had been a photograph, I think we would have been dealing with something completely different. That's an artist's rendition. Just in case anyone out there's going, oh, come on, anyone can tell that's been drawn, Kev. No, I've got you covered. I know that. I do know that's been drawn, but this hasn't. You know, aside from testing my paranormal equipment, I think I would probably have elf as well. If I'd seen anything that resembled anything like that staring out the woods at me, I would have been turning too quickly to get a photograph of that. Yep. You know, how fast do you need to be to get away from one of those things? Just faster than the guy that's next to you. But that's all you need to know. As long as you ain't last. Because that's... He who is last is dinner. That's basically how it goes with one of these things. But what do we think? What do we think, folks? Do we think we've got a bona fide kind of cryptid, supernatural, interdimensional creature? I think it's just a big type of primate. I think it's a very earthbound primate we're dealing with here. I don't think we're looking at Bigfoot. But in the end of the day, it's not about me. Because I provide. You decide. 1 for a Bigfoot. 2 for hell no. You ain't buying it. Could be a setup. Could be. Absolutely. Great Hodgie says he's the big guy. You just run past me. I'd run over the bloody top of you, Hodgie, if there's one of those things after us. I love you to bits, man, but hey, survival of the fastest at that point, dude. Yep, exactly, Hodgie. See, this is why I'll never be a big channel. But if I wanted to be a big channel, I would egg this up. I'd be showing you it dead quickly, pulling it off the screen, telling you stuff blowing fire out of his nostrils and lightning out of his bum crack. And people would love it. It's the Magilla Gorilla. I like it. I like it. 3 for the Magilla Gorilla. That's what we're saying here, folks. I think you're about right, Hodgie. I think you're spot on in your assessments there. Yes, indeed. Does Monkey Man have a rainbow nose? Now, there's the question. 3, a hybrid monster. One man's monster is another man's pet. There you go. Yeah. Talking of pets, I got my Susie home. We got her home yesterday. Oof. Last night was the first full night's sleep I think I've had since all of that nastiness. Give your pets a hug, folks. That's the moral of all shows for the next coming weeks ahead. Carol, yep. Magilla Gorilla's winning it. I like it. I like it. You lot, you are on it today. Yes, you are indeed. Now we're going to come back. We've got something else to look at. Don't worry, we've got a bit of Egypt. And we've got the day that AC/DC went to catch the Loch Ness Monster. What? Only on your #1 abnormal paranormal show in the world. Listen, if you're new around here, you like what you see, you think I'm nuts, correct? And you want to see more of how crazy I get, then just click that subscribe button. There's usually daily content. And then if you want to go that step further, we have got the join button. We've got memberships on here. And then if you're feeling really, really Monkey Man generous, there's PayPal in the description. But either way, anyway, all of it, none of it, who cares? Because I'll still be here. And I'll be going live in 50 minutes on the main show. But we've still got a couple of stories to go here. So don't panic, folks. We are still live. And I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes after I shove on. Yeah, we'll shove on, like, since we were talking about the djinn there. YouTube have a track called Djinn on their audio library. So I can't promise how good this is gonna be, but here we go. Ah, we've had that one before. It's not that bad. Z Troy, man. Much love from Scotland, brother. Rarely catch you live. Well, I am glad you caught us today, Z Troy, man. I like that name. Got a bit of belly dancing feel about it, this song, innit? Or is that just toxic Kev shining through? Well, Z Troy, man, been in Scotland. I don't know where you are, but we're going to Scotland for our next story, which is kind of bizarre because it's about an Egyptian artifact. But we like our Egyptian artifacts around here, right? We like any kind of historical stuff. Gotta look back to be able to move forward. Sounds cool. I'll just throw it in there. But yeah, we're going all the way to Aberdeen. Aberdeen, no less. Now, for anyone outside of Scotland, let me just explain to you. Aberdeen is like a place like no other. Wow. They actually speak their own language up in Aberdeen. No, they do. Doric is what you call it. And I come from like Inverness, so it's maybe 2 hours along from Aberdeen. It's a skip and a jump in terms of distance. Yet it's a world apart. It's also one of the most affluent cities in Scotland, I would say, with the oil money that's come in over the years. Maybe not so much now, but over the years. And it's the Granite City, and it's absolutely bloody freezing. 365 days a year, and add on the extra when it's a leap year. The only thing you can guarantee in Aberdeen is wind, and it's cold. And it's expensive, so it's not just only one thing. There's 3 things you can guarantee. And you can also go there for our next story. What if I was to tell you that a much sought after Egyptian artifact turned up in Aberdeen in somebody's cigar box? Only in Aberdeen. Only in Aberdeen, ladies and gents. Here we go. So yes, wooden fragments from at least 3000 BC discovered by chance by an Egyptian university researcher. Now, being in a cigar box, I'm stupefied as to how at some point somebody at a party didn't try and smoke one of these. In fact, maybe if we were to learn the full truth of this story, maybe several fragments of this artifact have already been smoked by somebody at a party. It happens. What can I say? Okay. So if we scroll down, it says, curatorial assistant Abir Eladani. What a name. Oh, that, very Abir. Can we just call her him or her? They, Aberdeen, I think. Originally from Egypt. Okay, so probably I should have read that before I was totally culturally inappropriate. Was reviewing items in the universities. 9:15 at night and somebody's sparking up like a grinder out the back. What's going on? I swear, folks, I could just do a show about the housing scheme in Glasgow where I live. It's got everything. It's got cryptids, it's got hauntings, it's got mysteries. It's got real crime, lots of real crime. And it's got people doing DIY out the back of your house at 9:15 at night. The kind of person that smokes an Egyptian artifact, I would imagine. But anywho, don't let that get in the way of our woo. was reviewing items in the university's Asia collection when she came across, see, we've narrowed it right down now. So we've gone from some kind of Aberdonian they to a very precise Egyptian she. Would be good at the belly dancing, just adding it in there. When she came across a cigar box marked with her country's former flag. Inside, she found several wooden splinters, which she then identified as fragments of wood from the Great Pyramid, which have been missing for more than a century. The mysterious, or the, where did I get mysterious from? Because I was thinking of Glasgow. The university's collections are vast, running to hundreds of thousands of items. So looking for it has been like finding a needle in a haystack. I couldn't believe it when I realised what was inside this innocuous-looking cigar tin, she said. There she is there. Not sure if I'm up for the belly dance anymore, but hey-ho. The wooden fragment is one of a trio of items discovered by engineer Wayman Dixon inside the pyramid's Queen's Chamber in 1872. Known as the Dixon Relics. Must have taken them absolutely bajillions of time to come up with that. A ball and a hook, that's what he said, are housed in the British Museum, while some have speculated that the lost piece of cedar was part of a measuring rule which could reveal clues to the pyramid's construction. You kidding me on? That's going to unlock the mysteries of how they built the pyramid. Really? Okay. It is believed the fragment was bequeathed. Now isn't that a great word? When was the last time you heard that word being used? Just in conversation. Now we're using things like cray, amazeballs, adorbs, LOL. And there's words like bequeathed out there. I'm telling you. To the university by Dixon's friend, James Grant. An absolute gentleman, by the way. But was never classified and despite an extensive search could not be located. The discovery of the wooden relic has also raised new questions, as carbon dating has shown that the wood can be dated to the period of 3341 to 3094 BC, some 500 years earlier than historic records which date the Great Pyramid to the reign of the pharaoh Khufu in 2580 and 2560 BC. Now that's, all joking aside, very interesting indeed. Now, carbon dating, it's been said, is kind of meh. I don't think they test it. Let me rephrase that. I don't think they rely on it or they take the results of carbon dating as factually as they once did. I've not looked too much into it, but I know Joe was explaining it to me one time. I've had other people telling me as well. There's a bit of concern as to how accurate it is. But Speculation Island, this is the kind of thing we talk about all the time, right? The fact that the pyramid, and in particular the Sphinx complex, could be way, way older than what we've been told. Way, way older. Now, they say that couldn't be because there was no other civilizations building anything way, way, way before that. Only, if you go and look at a map right now and you find Egypt, you don't have to go too far with your finger until you come up to Turkey. And Turkey's got Göbekli Tepe. And Göbekli Tepe was what, 11,000 BC? So there were people building things way before the given date for Khufu and that pyramid date, right? And I'm not going all ancient aliens. I'm just saying that pyramid is older. Who put it there? That we could probably talk about until the cows come home, or the Anunnaki, or the aliens, or whoever, right? It says Neil Curtis, head of the museums and special collections at the university, said Finding the missing Dixon relic was a surprise, but the carbon dating has been quite a revelation. It is even older than we had imagined. Now, this may be because the date relates to the age of the wood, maybe from the centre of a long-lived tree. Alternatively, it could be because of the rarity of trees in ancient Egypt, which meant that wood was scarce, treasured, and recycled or cared for over many years. Well, pretty plausible. I can't deny that. But I still think it's older. It will now be for scholars to debate its use and whether it was deliberately deposited, as happened later during the New Kingdom when pharaohs tried to emphasize continuity with the past by having antiquities buried with them. The cedar fragment originally belonged to a much larger piece of wood, which was most recently seen in a 1993 exploration of the interior of the pyramid by a robotic camera in hidden and now unreachable voids. Wow. So, is this referring like way back to when? Remember they put the robot up one of the shafts? Are they saying that you can't get to those shafts now? What happened to the Scan Pyramid project? Remember they found the big void? The mystery void up there? Here, Scan Pyramids. See if they've got pictures. It's alright. Images. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Make it bigger. Look, that's what they found a few years ago. That big void there. So now we're saying that we can't get to these little shafts. Is that what they're saying? We can't get there? So we can't get there just when we found a big mystery void? Not buying it. Not buying it at all. I bet there's a lot of work going on there at night time and when the public are shut out of the way. But yeah, that's at the end of that. But there you go. There's your little ancient artifact from ancient Egypt. Found in a cigar box in Aberdeen. Exactly, who knew? But listen, we've got one more story to get to before I go and get done, before I go and get ready for today's Kev Baker show. Before we even get there, I'm going to get a drink of coffee in a second. Thanks for being here. Thanks for checking us out. Hope you're having fun in the chat room. Yes, I am a 44-year-old man that gets excited about splinters of wood found in Aberdeen, about cryptids called the Monkey Man, and I'm honestly struggling not to laugh at that. And yes, the most bizarre, outrageous, wonderful, woo-filled things. Hey, if you don't like it, lump it. Z Troy man, I still think the pyramids are a power source. Oh, I definitely, I'm with you along those lines. Definitely looks like a machine to me. Looks like a machine. It's just a burial chamber, bro. Just a burial chamber. Whatever. some groovy tunes. That's a bit kind of 70s music. Yes, it is. We have got John, a hydroelectric generator. Absolutely feasible. If you look into the work of Christopher Dunn, I'll pull him up here. 2 secs. Christopher Dunn, he's the man behind Giza Power Plant. 2 secs. Yeah, I'm over here. If you haven't checked him out, I'd imagine you have, but Christopher Dunn, the Giza Power Plant, very, very, very good presentation. You know, you look at the whole structure of the pyramid like we had over here. The underneath part is very critical to this as well, very crucial. If we look at this one here, you got to remember when there was the water table beneath the pyramid as well, when the Nile was higher and things. Water was flowing underneath it. And because of the water flowing across the crystalline kind of quartz-filled rocks. And if you doubt that there's quartz-filled rocks in there, go and look at Beyond the Veil, Chris and Sheree Geo. They've got footage of the subterranean chamber. And it's sparkling. It's like it's crystals everywhere. So you get the running water, the movement of water, the positive ions then coming off the water, going up through, reacting with other stuff. And Christopher Dunn, he's got you covered, man. Again, I can't definitively tell anyone, and nobody can definitively tell anyone what the pyramid's true function were. I think what we can all agree on is that it wasn't simply a burial chamber for a king. Right? I think we would all agree on that. And of course you've got Bosnia, the Bosnian pyramid. You've got the Alaskan one I've seen people talking about. You've got the pyramids in Antarctica. You've got Graham Hancock's work that talks about the underwater ruins, cities, pyramids. You've got everything going on in South America, for goodness sake. Remember we had Malaya. Malaya's probably in the chat right now. All of those pyramids and temples over in South America. We've got the Gympie Pyramid down in Australia. Yes, yet there is such a thing as the Gympie Pyramid. Hang on now. Is it Gympie Pyramid? There it is, the Gympie Pyramid. See, he thought I was lying. Gympie Pyramid is a low terraced hill located on the outskirts of, funnily enough, Gympie in Queensland, Australia. Low stone terraces on the hillside were probably created by European immigrants in the late 19th or 20th century. The feature is a subject to speculation, especially suggestions by fringe authors and Kev Baker. I love being described as fringe. As another TV show I watched last night, actually, came on after V. Geeked out to a bit of Olivia on Fringe. Yes, indeedy. Can't beat a bit of that. But it was a pyramid constructed by an unknown civilization. Now that's where I'm coming down on it. But they're everywhere. Everywhere. So was it just ornamental and decorational just to have it all, that pyramid, that conical type shape? I don't think so. I think there was something mechanical, something very deliberate about the fact that that shape was copied all over the world. But hey, I'm a guy that gets excited about talking about the monkey man. So what would I know? What would I know, ladies and gentlemen, right? Well, what I do know is that AC/DC one day, when they weren't making cracking rock music, they actually went to try and smoke out the Loch Ness Monster. No, they did. Literally tried to smoke out the Loch Ness Monster with fireworks. I'd no idea. If we come down here, just a quick one. Something really kind of non-divisive and a nice little bit of local woo for me and for Z Troy, man, the Scotsman out there. AC/DC have undertaken an impressive media blitz to promote their upcoming Power Up album. They ought to just power down and give up. That's what their new album should be called. power down and given up because like they're like 90 now. They're as old as the Loch Ness Monster. But just when you thought we knew all we need to know, up pops Brian Johnson to casually mention that he and the late Malcolm Young once went hunting for the Loch Ness Monster. Now, you might not be entirely shocked to learn that alcohol had been taken in advance of this mission. Speaking with NME, Johnson recalls that the duo's failed attempt to locate Nessie, the loch's fabled aquatic resident, took place when the former AC/DC band leader, Young, took a trip around Scotland with their wives during downtime for the Australian rocker legend. Now, I would imagine that they were going to visit Balskin House, as Bill calls it. Locals call it Boleskine House, but Balskin House will always hold a funny place in my heart for me. Malcolm loved his fireworks, and he'd taken a big box with him, Johnson remembers. One night, we were 4 sheets to the wind and staying at this hotel right on the side of the loch. And Mal just said, come on, let's go and find the Loch Ness Monster. I've got fireworks, and it might attract it. So there we were, going straight into the water in our shoes, up to our knees, and it was freezing. Mal had a drink in one hand and a box of fireworks in the other, and it was trying to set fire to the loch. We were just howling. By the time we got back to our wives, we had straw in our hair and were covered in mud. What a night. So yeah, I just thought that was quite funny. AC/DC trying to smoke the Loch Ness Monster out with some fireworks. Folks, don't try this at home. Do not be trying that at home. If there's any children out there, don't be doing that if you go up to Loch Ness. A, it's not going to work. B, it's a waste of fireworks. And C, it's pretty dang dangerous, okay? Like I said, they're very cold. You don't want to slip into that loch, even when you're having a laugh. No, the loch always has the last laugh, ladies and gentlemen. And on that note, I best go get sorted for the arrival of Don Wiskin and Kevin Nacy. 60% sure, if not phones, weirdness. We'll go full woo in hour number 2. Either way, I'm going to be live 26 minutes from now over on tfrlive.com with the Kev Baker Show. And I would love for all of you to be there too. I'll be back tomorrow with another pre-show stream. Tomorrow night on the Kev Baker Show, we're going full woo. Mothman, Dogman, Bigfoot, Nessie, Kelpies, ghosts, paranormal activity. Oh, you name it. We're going to be on it. Travis Short is going to be with me, one of our buddies from Warrior Mode. And somebody was in the chat room was saying, where's that Exorcist guy gone? I'm on with the Exorcist guy every Sunday. Warrior Mode. You can catch that live on the Kev Baker Show main channel or on Bill Bean's channel. All of the previous episodes are backed up there. So with that said, I think that concludes today's little episode. Brief introduction to the Kev Baker Show madness. Hope that's warmed you up for what's about to come in 25 minutes. Please be there. Please have a good day. Keep it real. And remember, keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. Wow, 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 wow. That's some dodgy tunes, right? Feels like somebody's gone mad with a wah-wah pedal.